Welcome, everybody. We have a great show tonight. We have two special guests. We're going to be talking and answering all questions about how you might use a bunkie to earn extra side income. We'll start in about 2-3 minutes. This is a song I wrote about my favorite province. Well, I'll be fine by the seashore, I'll be fine. And I'll find love in Nova Scotia, I'll find love. And when I go, I'll never write you when I go. 'Cause there's no heartbreak on the coast, no heartbreak. And you will sit in your apartment, you will sit. And you'll be sad, and you will miss me, and you'll be sad. But I won't care. In Nova Scotia, I won't care. 'Cause there's no heartbreak on the coast, no heartbreak. I'll grow old in Nova Scotia, I'll grow old, and then grow up in Nova Scotia, I'll grow up. And then one day I'll forget you, just forget you one day. 'Cause there's no heartbreak on the coast, no heartbreak. Fine by the seashore, I'll be fine. And I'll find love in Nova Scotia, I'll find love. Alright guys, it's going to be a fantastic show. If you're just tuning in, comment below. There's just 1 week to go. We're announcing the winner at exactly this time next week. 7 days from now, 1 week, 1/4 of a month, we'll be announcing the winner. And what's your plan this week? What are you going to be doing? What actions are you going to be taking? What friends, families, and etc. are you going to be telling about this contest to get them involved? It's going to be a fantastic week. So there's also a couple live streams coming up. But tonight, it's all about how to earn cash with your bunkie. So there's lots of creative ways that our clients have used to earn extra income using their bunkies. And we're going to get to that in just a second. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm David Fraser, founder of Bunkie Life. We're in the building industry, but what we're famous for are small log cabins called bunkies that can be easily built in a weekend without a permit or a second mortgage. Ultimately, we help our clients create extra space for more meaningful connection. Yes, we help our clients get a cool bunkie. But if you think it's just about the bunkie, you've already missed the point. Really what this is about is creating the space and time for more meaningful connection, and having a bunkie is just part of that journey. It's not just about the space, it's about what happens in the space, how it enables more connection. It allows you to spend that quality time with family and friends. It allows you to be there for each other in both senses of the phrase. We are the market leaders in educational videos and content. And we also provide an easy to build or built for you bunkie kit that enables people to have more space to connect. The bunkie is often the difference between that friend or family member coming or not, being there for each other or not. The reason we do this is because we believe family comes first. And when it comes to being there for each other, there are no do-overs. That's one of the reasons we've decided to partner with Ronald McDonald House Charities of Canada in their goal of keeping families close. Because ultimately, we want to bring about a world where families everywhere have a place to unite, unwind, and unplug. I get up every morning excited to help families create extra space for meaningful connection. Thanks for listening, and can't wait to hear from you. Okay, awesome, guys. Well, we're going to talk about, when I say guys, I mean that in the generic sense, ladies and gentlemen, if you will. We're going to be interviewing, I filmed a video with a guest that you may have seen before in past live streams, Isalina. She's run a bunkie Airbnb for a couple of years now, and she's had fantastic success. I kind of did an initial conversation with her about a little less than a year ago, and then I got the update, so that the year 2 update, which I'll be kind of playing a condensed version of that interview, and I posted the full interviews to YouTube today as well. So we also have live guests, Steve and Barb from Tranquil Solutions. They've got their own kind of twist on it as well, and I might even share some photos of other people that have had really cool and creative uses of their bunkie too. So before we do that, let's see the comments here. So Stryker says, good evening. Welcome, Don Demers. People are tuning in from New Brunswick, the Gallants. Thanks for coming. And Helen says, love Nova Scotia. Great song. Thank you. I wrote that one myself. Fawn says, hello from Karma Point. Welcome. And Kelly says she's going to use it for a hunting cabin. Very cool. Lots of people do that as well. Okay. It looks like the Andy and Dave saga continues. Don't worry, I'm here, buddy. Okay, cool. I like how everyone's battling in the comments. Stryker, my plan to win this bunkie is let the powers that be decide if I'm lucky enough. Okay, I like that. Let go, let God. Melissa says to use the bunkie as a bunkie at our cabin. Okay, cool. That's good. All right. So people are saying good evening. Good evening to you as well. Hello from Saskatoon. I plan to get all the entries I can to help win. So if you haven't done it yet, you can go on the Bunkie Contest scoreboard and you can do all the extra things. And I think it's up gives you like an extra couple thousand points. So there's a lot to do there. Okay, Cheryl says she's going to keep chalking up those points. Can we do those certain things more than once? You can only do everything once. So yeah, you only get the points once for sharing. But every single person who signs up using your link, you'll get an extra 25 points. That's how you can keep adding and keep going. Linda from Newfoundland and Labrador, welcome. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm fortunately there's too many comments for me to get to them, but I want to cue this up. Isalina, this interview is going to blow your mind. If you're thinking of creative ways to use your bunkie, this is going to be a real game changer. Before we get to her, this is the final few streams. This Tuesday, completing the bunkie picture. We'll talk about all the cool add-ons and different ways to kind of make everything complete. And then Thursday, if you can only tune into one live stream, please tune in this Thursday. It's why bunkie life helps the world. And then, of course, announce the winner on Sunday. So that's kind of the next little bit. Let's talk to Isalina. Well, everybody, I'm super excited to be welcoming Isalina Verano back from the Verano Lake House. She has been a client for a couple of years now. Bought a bunkie, I think, in 2019 or 2020. Yeah, 2019. Got it going as a rental. She's got a really, really cute setup there. She's got a little more of an upscale thing than what I did at my own place there. And I would say I'm kind of rustic retreat camping. Yours is more like, I remember there was like foot protective mittens and things like that yes. You had. So we did a great video. If you haven't seen it, it's on our YouTube channel, but she kind of explained her experience, and I'm so grateful you take the time again to come back.
No
and I'd
problem.
Love to hear an update if you could for us, Isalina.
Pretty much booked solid. Like if I didn't block off weeks, I got requests. And so I had to be really diligent about, hey, I don't want to be up here this weekend, because people were sending requests regardless. And it was amazing. The response was amazing.
Like, and this is you're talking about through even like the dead of winter as well? Like,
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So I kind of came to the same conclusion. So just for the background story, if you're kind of tuning in and you didn't see the last video, Isalina has an amazing bunkie setup, kind of Muskoka area. Is that correct?
No, it's in the tiny region near Georgian Bay.
Right. So kind of, not crazy far north, but like northish. And she's been primarily renting out on Airbnb. I don't think you've used any other platforms.
No. Yeah.
And so with Airbnb, you have the option of saying, hey, anyone can kind of instantly book a date if it's available. That's how I had mine set up, because it was on my property and I didn't need to, worry. Like I was there to always do changeovers generally. And if I had a problem, I would just block off the date if I was going away or something. Whereas Isalina needs to kind of drive there, and you were not always there, essentially,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you had it set, I believe, to like, they request the date and you approve the date.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the winter was epic. That's cool to see. And I remember I checked your listing. It was probably, I don't know, probably 6 months ago, but like you were getting a pretty good penny for your
Yeah.
listing. Tell us about that.
I was brace yourself, because it went up since the last podcast. I was renting it for $199 a night.
Whoa.
Yeah. plus a $50 cleaning fee.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday scenario. What we do on the weekdays? Friday,
Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, people didn't question the price,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't people, for the most part, felt it was that, there was value to it. Now I'm on the water, so that helps. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so while we're talking about numbers, so you mentioned like, you're getting in the ballpark like $200 to $250 a night, depending how you think of it.
No, $250, right, with the cleaning fee, right?
What is your kind of like year? What if you scan back over the year, because it's been 2 years, but like how is year over year it changed? And what, if you could give us an overview of kind of what the return on investment's been.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I would say, because I'm only partially opened, I mean, you could, and I don't like, the first year I offered more weekends than I did the second year.
Yeah.
And that was for personal reasons, because, I wasn't here and as much, because my daughter moved to London, and I went to visit her in the UK. But I think you can like, I made with a partial season. So, and like I said, limited weekends this season, I think it's going to be about 5,000.
Okay.
And last year it was double that.
Okay.
So, and like I said, I'm still offering very limited weekends.
This is a business that works around your schedule more so than
exactly. It's not a full-time. So I would say I've almost covered my costs in terms of purchasing the bunkie, that's for sure.
Yep.
And the bunkies, because there's two of them.
Yep.
So for me, I'm very satisfied with my return.
I guess, if someone was thinking about doing this themselves, they're thinking about getting into the Airbnb, even on a part-time basis, maybe they just want to kind of have the bunkie pay for itself like you, or like actually do it on a more serious level. What would your advice be to them?
Do your research, because there are competitors out there. I mean, as I told you this when I first bought your bunkie, the reason I bought it was because I was a research guru on product, and like, I'm obsessive about research, and maybe a little too extreme, but that's okay. But because of my research, that's why I ended up buying with you, because from a quality perspective, customer service perspective, to me, it's not just about cost. And I'm not trying to say you're outrageously priced, because you're not, for the quality that you get. For our bunkie kits, I think you're fairly priced, to be honest, because I've seen some of the competitors out there, and to me, it just didn't meet my needs in terms of quality. And so, yeah, you might want to, there might be less money, but with less money, you get less quality, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And one of the things everybody always says is, like, I get people, because I got this bright blue roof. So I get people like who walk across the road, the country road, and they catch sight of my roof of the bunkie, and they'll come down the hill and they'll say, "Can I see your bunkie?" Or I've had actually people who've seen my bunkie, or heard about it through that last podcast or something, and they'll say, oh my god, I saw it featured on Bunkie Life, can I come take a look? So, and now I think there's 2 people on my lake that actually bought from you.
Yeah, thank you, by the way. Thank you for this reference. Yeah.
And I think they were my visitors that said, do you mind if I come and see it? Because I'm doing some shopping about, mm-hmm. buying one. And I'm like, yeah, please come. So, so the quality is always the number one, comment I get in mm-hmm. terms of, wow, this is really nice. Yeah. And it's yeah, that's why I bought it. It's really nice.
Right.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you just being so straightforward and honest and open to everybody. That's always been my playbook too, is share what the good and the bad are, right? There's ups and downs. And I guess overall, like, would you say it's worth it? Is it something you want to keep doing after you get back this spring, or what's your plans moving forward?
I am going to keep doing it, and I'll do it in terms of how, because I know I got such a good response and knowing I have a product that people want. And I think too, make sure your ads are clear as day in terms of what you offer as amenities. Amenities include location, waterfront, be as clear as day in terms of what you offer and what you don't offer.
Yes.
And take a look at other people's ads in terms, because when you register on Airbnb, you can do searches in terms of other types of like tiny houses and stuff. And so you can get ideas. YouTube is a great resource as well in terms of getting ideas of, how you're going to lay it out.
You're also pretty involved in the private Bunkie Lifer Facebook group as well. Like,
yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm noticing that's like now there's like 600 people in it now of like clients like you that are actually renting it out, but also clients who just have a bunkie. But I go on there and I'm inspired by other people's ideas and all the creative ways people are heating and staining and building and so
yeah, like I mean, as I built my own toilet.
Yeah, you love that.
And finding out what people want who are renting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's about kind of putting something out there in the marketplace, then getting a little bit of like not pivoting, but kind of adjusting it to basis of what people are feedback and what would you like to see more of, and that's kind of the formula. So start with a strong vision of what you want to see, and then you allow that vision to kind of come into focus over the course of people's visits, and that's I think what you've done and what we did at our place and with our Airbnbs, and it's so fun to see everyone's reactions and generally 5-star reviews are sounds like the norm for you and us as well, and it's it makes I found it was a really kind of feel good kind of business. I always felt good about
me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I mean, the feedback was great. And I think especially for people who, are campers and are just wanting to go up a grade to try something different, especially with the bathroom bug. I mean, I remember when we were talking, when I was first buying the bunkie and I was asking you, do I have enough room to build a bathroom in the loft style thing? And you said, well, why don't you just buy a bathroom bunkie? And I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. And then I did. And it was the best thing I ever did because, even though it's not like in the actual bunkie, it's literally right next to the bunkie. And I have a connected deck almost. So they're literally just walking a second, to the bathroom. And, and I glamped up that space, like to the best of my ability. And they have a hot shower inside there, running water, composting toilet. So they've got all the comforts of a regular bathroom, in an off-grid, a bathroom. And, that bathroom bunkie was like, a game changer. So your product was the first, step to inspiring the inspiring that I put in them. And so
mutually, I'm inspired. Sorry to cut you off, Lisa. I'm mutually inspired by you guys, meaning the Bunkie Lifer community, like the way that they've taken this basic shell and like riffed on it and made it so like, I see the videos of your place and I'm personally inspired as well, because basically I kind of got the we'll say the shell to it, but the way that everyone decorates and the way that everyone adds on to it is always unique to them and unique to the experience they're creating for their guests. And it's always so cool to see. Every single time I get jazzed when people are posting on that Facebook group and they're showing off their stuff, and it's so fun. That's one of my favorite parts.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I always enjoy the weekly videos of the new ones that you guys put on your website, because I love to see, what do they have? And I've actually gotten
that's not us. That's not me. That's just Bunkie Life clients. I guess we do usually once a week we'll post someone. Yes. Yeah, we do post that, but I'm talking like the private group. Like I'm not doing much. I just go on and like type funny memes in every once in a while, but it's running on its own steam now, pretty much, for sure. Well, Isalina, I really appreciate your time so much once again, and looking forward to seeing how it develops and how it evolves, and really appreciate. I'm sure this is going to be a very popular video, so I really appreciate taking the time to meet with me.
Yeah, thank you. And if anybody wants to see what we're talking about, they can go on my YouTube channel at Laverano Lake House.
Yeah.
And I don't have that many videos there, but I'll
make sure there's a link somewhere around this video when we air it. So I'll make sure that's up there. And thank you so much again for your time.
You're welcome. Hope to see you at the end of November.
Okay, for sure. All right. Well, guys, before we get to Barb, I want to just make a few comments. So Isalina was so gracious. She gave me like an hour or more of her time. We went deep into that interview. So that was kind of like, I think it was a representative sample of what we chatted about, but the full video is on our YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com/bunkylife, it's our latest 2 videos. One of an interview from earlier this year with Isalina, and then the longer form of that. It's about 45 minutes long. And I mean, Isalina is a wealth of information. She goes into a lot of details that, unfortunately, for compacting this presentation to an hour, I had to kind of just take the gist. So totally worth your time watching. There's also presentations. If you go to bunkylife.com/Airbnb, let me just pull that up, make sure I've got it. So bunkylife.com/Airbnb. There's a presentation we did like 2 years ago, my wife and I, about our little setup in Erin. But I don't want to I want to be creating original stuff every time we do this. So I thought Isalina's story was so powerful, and the next part is going to be even more powerful. So we have. I'm going to invite guests on live. Hopefully we can pull this off technologically. We're going to invite Steve and Barb from Tranquil Solutions. They're up kind of near Wyerton area, kind of like on the direction of Tobermory, like kind of northwest, southwestern Ontario, if that makes sense. And I'm going to get them live. So I'm going to ask them a few questions, but then we're going to open up the comments to you guys. What questions do you have for either myself or for Barb and Steve and what they're doing? Because they've got a really interesting, and they're not relying on Airbnb at all, which I thought was different, because I've used Airbnb, as did Isalina and a lot of other clients. But I think it's super interesting that Steve and Barb aren't using Airbnb. So I wanted to find out more about that. So, we'll have them on in about 4 or 5 minutes. But first, I also want to show you a few photos while we're in the gist of it. So I'm going to share some photos of different clients and what they've done in terms of like creating their own little Airbnbs or different experiences. So this is a bunkie up near Pembroke, I believe. This one here is the Elm 8 cabin, which is on it's on Airbnb as well. And this is a really cool in the forest kind of bunkie that they've set up. And little dining thing there, and this is a really cool spot. This is another, I don't know if this is an Airbnb or not, but they've got a really cool look. And then that's the inside of that bunkie. This here is basically a stay-in-play situation that a golf course in Ontario has created. So they have these cabins that people stay in, and they added a bunch of bunkies on, which allowed them to double their capacity at their golf course. So we have a whole kind of business end of our business where we sell to campgrounds that do something of that nature, as well as golf courses and things like that. It's a really quick, relatively unaffordable way to add a lot of capacity or add a whole new experience to your business. So this is another cool one too. This is the alpaca. This is the Sylvan alpacas. They're down kind of close to London area, Sylvan alpacas. And they sell alpaca socks and different things at their alpaca farm. And this is kind of their storefront. So there's the alpaca looking at his socks. So yeah, there's a just a wealth of creative ways that bunkie lifers have used the cabins to do different cool things there. So I want to show you that, and I'm going to see if I can get Barb and Steve on Skype. Just bear with me here, and we'll see what we can pull off. Now they're up in the boonies, so we've tested the internet, but we'll see if we can actually get it going. Ring the group. So. Guys, are you there?
We are.
There we go.
Are we here? Yay!
Okay, awesome. Well, guys, I'm so excited to have you guys, and we got about 100 and some people roughly online live, and they're gearing up for questions. But I guess before we we dive into questions, I'd love to hear your story. You know, you got a Bunkie Life bunkie. How are you using it? And tell us how that adventure's been.
Okay. Starting back last year in February
Of 20.
of 20, we ordered the bunkie, just pure happenstance. I think it was a week and a half or 2 weeks before COVID. Happenstance.
Yeah, so it worked out really well. It did take a lot longer to build it because with our website and everything, we also do I do vending a lot. I make a lot of products like beeswax food wrap and reusable tea bags and all that kind of stuff. So Steve was pretty much on his own because he couldn't have people come help him. So it did take a little longer than we thought, but we opened it up last Thanksgiving. So it's been just over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have a kitchen out there, and it is back in the forest, at the back of our property, like at the backyard. So although it's not far from the house, it feels like a long way away. We do have the bunkie bathroom, but they are able to come into the house. We have what we call the Tranquil Cafe, where they do have a fridge and dishes and whatnot, and there's a full washroom inside till we get things built up outside.
Yeah, out in the forest, the bunkie bathroom is within sight of the bunkie itself, and it's maybe a 10-second walk, so totally doable.
Do you find that a lot of people use that washroom, or are most people coming inside, or is it a 50-50?
I'd say they come inside in the morning and they come inside maybe at night or when they want to have a shower, but they use the outside a lot.
Yeah. As far as percentage of people, it's like 90% of the people use the bunkie bathroom.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And do you serve?
Go ahead.
Sorry, cut you off. Do you guys serve an actual breakfast at the Bunkie Cafe, or is it just the bed and they make their own breakfast?
No, I make breakfast and I put it out for them. So we do it so that they have their own space. So we've done it so that we'll ask them what time they want breakfast. I put it out for them just before, like we can usually see them walking out of the forest. I put it out and then they can sit and have it on their own. So although we talk to them, I'd say a little bit at a distance.
Yeah.
We aren't right in the room with them. So because of COVID, we've kept everything very separate.
So for people who come from the bunkie to the house, which is where the Tranquil Cafe is, it's about maybe
3-minute
walk.
Yeah. And they can make other meals in here though too. There's dishes, there's a microwave, there's a toaster oven.
They have their own fridge and freezer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So in terms of the experience, like, are most people coming? Like, what's the reason that people are coming? Are they coming because you have the other kind of greater business around, which is, you know, the Tranquil Solutions business? Are they coming for that and then staying in the bunkie, or is it a little bit of both?
To hike. They're coming to hike. We're 2 kilometers from the Bruce Trail, and there's all kinds of trails all around. So I would say most people, although some people come because we're 20 minutes from Sauble Beach as well. So they'll go to the beach one day. If it's summertime, they'll go. But I would say, and also we allow dogs. So we get a lot of people because of that. So we get a lot of people hiking with dogs.
Yeah, we've had, again, in the 90% region of people with pets.
Yeah.
See, that's cool because, like, I cut you off again. I apologize. So I, as you guys probably know, I wasn't anti-pet. I love pets. I'm a dog fan in our place in Erin, but I always was like, the risk for me, it wasn't worth the reward. But it's cool. Everyone has their own little niche, right? You guys have said, let's go pro pet, and that probably opens up a whole new clientele.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we had one woman who stayed, she and her husband, and they had 3 dogs. 3. We had dog trainers that have 4, but they had 3. And I mean, everybody's been fantastic. Like, there hasn't been a problem, like no problem at all. But she went on Instagram and shared us, like, unbelievable. There must have been 150 people liked it, you know? Yeah. So I mean, it's been great, actually.
Yeah, the other part of the appeal for people is the fact that the bunkie is right in the forest. Like when you're there, you look around and you see nothing but trees.
Yeah.
I think the appeal of an escape cabin in the woods has definitely been exponentially since the whole COVID thing, you know. So that was my next question. Is like, so you're not using like you're using Instagram to kind of get the marketing out there, but you're not really using Airbnb, which is kind of a bread and butter for a lot of people. Could you kind of expand on that? Like, what's the reasoning behind it, and what's the results been?
Well, the biggest reason behind it was we wanted to make it more personal for us and for the people, for the guests. We wanted to it kind of provides its own self-vetting, if you will, you know, because you get to talk to people via either the phone or the internet or texting, and you both, they get a feel, we get a feel for them. So it seems to have worked really well for us.
It is a lot of work, though. I do have to say, Steve, he's on there posting a lot on Kijiji and on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace. That's where we get most of our people, probably, besides word of mouth. But I think that our thought is that in the next little while, it's just going to be word of mouth, and it's going to be repeat. Every single person who signed our book said they're coming back. So, you know, for us, we just decided that we wanted to make it as reasonable for people as possible without having a lot of fees. So we do charge $150 a night, includes breakfast. If there's more than 2 people, because there is a pullout in the bunkie as well, they could have, if they have kids under 12, they're free too.
Yeah.
But
we've had mostly 2 people.
Yeah.
It's usually couples, and the odd couple with their 2 kids, but almost always pets, dogs.
Yeah.
Well, that's so great. So
we had to come and he brought a cat. That was different.
So okay, so the strategy for you guys is a little less like, you know, get a bunch of people we don't know from Airbnb. It's more like let's you know, you're still advertising online, you're using Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, that sort of thing, but you kind of vet people, and then the idea is like you're building almost like a clientele, like a book of business, right, over the course of the years, and then ideally all your weekends and all your weeks just kind of fill up with the people you already know, and it's a little more self-regenerative. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I think that's it. It's the work. We've already had a repeat.
I think that's a great point to make, because so even if, regardless of which direction you go, if whether you're listed on Airbnb, you rely more on word of mouth or whatever, I think it's really important to have a proactive stance of making sure you get people's contact information if they've had a good experience, and so that you have that option of, you have this kind of list of people, and then if you have a weekend that comes open, you can just email everybody, hey guys, I got a weekend, you know, things like that.
Absolutely does that. And that seems to work really well.
I always make a point of doing a follow-up text, usually to people a couple of days after they've gone, to request a Google review. And it's challenging because most people ignore it, but that's okay, because at this point we've had approximately 40 guests over the course of 1 year. Over the course of 1 year, and I've managed to get a dozen or so people to post reviews on Google.
You know, that's actually a pretty good ratio, Steve. Like, to be honest, like people are just busy, and they might have had an amazing time. They're probably planning on coming back, but to get someone to actually sit down in front of a computer and do those Google reviews, I mean, we have like almost 1,000 clients now with the Bunkie Life, you know, thing, and they're all, whenever we talk to them, they're always super excited. But then it's like, okay, why do we only have 100 reviews? Well, about only 10% of people ever get around to doing it. You know, it's just one of those things, right?
Yeah, we've you know, obviously it was a challenging year. We had a lot of months that we couldn't have people. We are having people to the end of December. We had people at New Year's last year, but then we'll probably shut it down for January and February. It's just too challenging, too cold.
It's too cold, yeah.
And snowy, like the weather's challenging up here. But last year was June before we could really get going again. So this coming year is going to be amazing.
I think you're absolutely right. Next year's gonna be nuts. So, you guys mentioned a little bit about what you've done in terms of like nightly rates. Do you guys mind sharing kind of what, if you look back on the year? Obviously, it wasn't a complete year, but what are your numbers looking like for 2021?
What, dollar wise?
If you don't mind sharing, if that's something you don't, yeah.
No, that's fine. Well, we figured we've taken in about $10,000. But I mean, you have to consider that we lost 5 months, 6 months.
Yeah.
Right. So that was really good. Really good. We were pretty happy with it. We found that people were still hesitant in June, even into July. But I believe because people were double vaxxed, like they were waiting, right? So, and we weren't firing it. We did make a point that we knew if they weren't, we just stayed a little bit further, whatever. We just were more cautious. But yeah, we found August was crazy. August, we were like, even this week, we had somebody who left this morning. We have somebody coming in Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we have somebody coming Friday, Saturday, Sunday night.
That's pretty awesome.
Week.
So
November.
Okay, that is pretty awesome. So I got a bunch of questions coming through on the chat. So we're kind of I want to let everyone know we're not skipping your questions. I just thought get as much information from you guys, and then if it's okay, I'll throw these questions your way if you're cool with that. Okay, so a lot of people are asking primarily about, can you show us pictures? So where would they go to see? If they go to tranquilsolutionscanada.com, it'll pull up. I know I've been on pictures. Yeah. And
if they go to tranquilsolutionscanada.com, and where on the first page it says forest adventure, yes please. So if they click on yes please and then go into where the booking is, they'll see all kinds of pictures. Yeah. So it's daytime, we'd be out there right now, but it's pretty dark.
Yeah. So people are asking what you're doing for heat. I think that was a main question that I'm noticing here.
That's the same thing as you're doing. We have a little infrared heater, so we run hydro out there, and we had the heater, so we decided just to run with that for now, hoping that in the not too distant future there'll be alternative source come, a better solar or whatever it is. But for now, we put one heater out, and then in December we put a second. Yeah. We can run 2, and that's
Gets it very warm.
It gets it very warm. Yeah.
Did you guys insulate your roof and your floor while you were building?
Sort of. When I say that, the roof we insulated, but the floor we built a subfloor or a base first out of 2x6s, and then put plywood on top of that, and then wrap the entire thing in plastic. But we didn't put in insulation per se, because that's all insulating on its own.
But what Steve did do was insulate underneath the floor that comes out of the loft. So when you're standing on, we have a porch, when you're standing there and you look up and it's actually the floorboards underneath the bed, he insulate there as well and put a layer of. So
that the loft floor wasn't exposed.
Yeah.
That's a key floor to do, because it is basically where you're sleeping on if you're sleeping up in the loft. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of toastiness, like you mentioned, you're shutting it down in the winter, but is it relatively could you zoom in on kind of why you're shutting it down for the winter? Because I did the same thing after the first year. So.
Well, last year we had somebody book, and it was -13 during the day. It's not warm enough. So what we're thinking is we'll probably say it's January and somebody contacts us and say, look, this weekend looks really good weather-wise, can we book? We'd say sure. But it's challenging because up here we can get a lot of storms. So we're just right on the Bruce Peninsula, and we have basically right in between Huron, and it's a very thin amount between Huron and Georgian Bay. So we can get a lot of snow. So
suddenly.
So it's challenging, we don't want to have to cancel people a lot. So that was kind of our thought. But if the weather's good, we're open, I think.
And then again, I just want to repeat that when we do shut down, it's just January, February. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I found like I could probably limp through January. I actually did limp through January and February for maybe 2 years with my Airbnbs, but I just found like it wasn't worth the extra like shoveling. It wasn't like I could keep my bunkies ish warm, like warm-ish, but the extra shoveling and the extra, people are parking somewhere and they're slipping on ice, and you guys have been in my house, right? There's the crazy hill. Like it was more like, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. We'd probably have to keep it cleared out there so that come March, you never know, we might still have that much snow if we let it go in. We can have a lot. Yeah, it can end. No.
Okay, some people are saying, what if you did the wood stove? Have you thought about the wood stove option in terms of heating, or like I went with electric too because I didn't want people burning the bunkie down. But what did you guys? What was your kind of thought process?
That's the exact reason we don't do that. We're not doing that.
The thing is, there's a lot of people coming from the city, and I mean, it's challenging for them just to not lock their car or when they're, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just, it's a different lifestyle. We heat completely with wood in our home. So we don't have a problem with that. We do have a fire pit that they can use. It is closer to the house. It's private, but it's not in the forest because,
Yeah,
we're, and also our bunkie is in the forest. So we just don't want to take any chances.
That's my thinking too. And this is no disrespect to city people. It's just you want to make sure if someone doesn't have experience with the wood safety, don't throw them into that in a strange place where they're camping and sleep. So we found it was just a lot simpler to have a nice electric furnace that can't burn in a safe way, and that was for us just simple and easy. Yeah.
So in a similar vein, we don't allow smoking inside the bunkie. So
yeah. But also, we had friends who went to one where they had to get up at 3:00 in the morning because it's one of those tiny little, like, you don't want to wake up at 3:00 and you're freezing either. With the heater, they have the remote control up above, and they can just turn it up from there.
So what, in terms of challenges, what would you say, like, if someone's thinking about getting into this, what were your main challenges that you had to overcome? And, what would you do differently if hypothetically you were to do it over again?
What do you think? Well, Steve did the building, but he was a contractor. So you didn't have any, issues with it. But if he hadn't been, he may have. I'd probably, if someone isn't very handy, I'd consider getting someone to put it up. I think I'd put the bathroom bunkie closer than we did myself. It's a little bit far. Steve doesn't think so, but I'm a girl.
It's 25 steps to the bathroom.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it was like 5 steps. And it's just, I mean, we're people. I mean, as I said, I'm doing vending, and we've always kind of worked with things like that. So for us, and also, to be honest, it's pretty remote up here. We were pretty excited to have people come and, after lockdown and be like, yay.
I mean, we had so many different people, so many really, really great people.
Yeah.
I mean, one time we did a trade with someone who came. He had a skill that we required, and he performed the skill for us, and we traded him a weekend, and him and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
We did a barter.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, it's different.
I honestly, like, sorry, I cut you off there.
I'm just going to say, I do think that because we do it the way we do it, people respect it so much. And I don't know if it's just because we chat with them or what it is, but I mean, like today I went out and it was like no one had been there. People are incredible. So we've been very fortunate.
I would like to second that. So, I mean, I'd say the number one objection that my wife had was this feeling of like, there's people on our property and they're going to be doing stuff, and what if they're trying to break into it? Like this, I would look back on now having had, probably thousands of guests, or at least over 1,000 guests, that was a very irrational feeling. But like this feeling of like, because like you're not opening your house out to the entire public. You're opening it to a very select group of people. You have their name, you have their number, you have a lot of information about them. They have, it's a trust relationship that you initiate with people, and people are generally respectful of that. Like I don't know what your worst experience is, but the worst experience I had was somebody broke a table accidentally. It was an accident. They told me about it. That was basically our most destructive thing that happened. It was like a $40 garage sale table,
Yeah, we were supposed to take a blanket to the fire and it kind of melted, that was it.
That was it. That was honestly really good.
Yeah, I guess it's been good.
So, guys, if you guys have any questions here for Barb or Steve or myself in terms of our experience with Airbnb, I feel free to chat them in the thing. And I just noticed that Isalina actually tuned into the live stream. I saw you chatting earlier. I don't know if she's still here, but if you have a question for Isalina, who her video was earlier, feel free to chat that in too, and maybe we can get her to answer it. But we're an open book, which is the best part about, I think, doing this together. Like, there's yourself. I think there's about 10 of us now that have either done the Airbnb thing or are actively doing it, and so there's becoming this kind of like, I don't want to say like community, but basically this group of people that are experimenting with different things, and we can all learn from each other. I love that aspect of it too. When I started the Bunkie Airbnb, I think I was one of one people doing the little micro stay thing, and now it's huge. There's like 4 or 5 people just in Erin alone, which is awesome. So if you guys have questions, now is your time to pick our brains. So Natasha asks, I was thinking glamorous camping, multiple cabins on many acres for like a campground. Okay, so what's your have you guys thought what other applications might make sense for you, or are you just kind of like, we're going to stick with one and that's our jam? Like, what's your kind of thought process about where the future's going?
And we were considering getting another bunkie and putting it a little further in the forest, but we're considering getting just
I guess
what do you call it?
no loft.
No loft. I don't know what you call that. I forget.
Okay, no loft. One reason being that we've had people ask, so they're like, my sister wants to come too, or that kind of thing. And we have 10 acres, so people will say to us, oh, we got many, but we really don't want to deal with that many personalities.
Well, we're okay with having another one though.
One more.
There's a saying in bunkie life that bunkies are like tattoos. As soon as you get your first one, you're already planning your second one, right?
It's true.
I've been limited to my bunkie. I think I'm limited to 4. That's my wife's limit. And some people are asking, is there an actual number of bunkies? Sarah Gerhardt asked, is there a number of bunkies you can add to the amount of property for prop? So that would be a question for your local mafia. Here in Erin, it's like 25% of your lot can be outbuildings essentially, which I'm on 2 acres, so I could put a lot more bunkies, but I'm limited by my wife right now, more than the township. But I don't know what it's like up. What township are you guys?
The township. We're Grey Bruce.
Grey Bruce, yeah.
So yeah.
Because like some places up north have like a 1 bunkie limit.
Southwest Peninsula has just brought in a mat tax, so we're going to have to charge 4%, and it goes directly to them. We're a little bit on we're not sure exactly where we're going to land because they are registering rental cottages this year in January. We're hoping that we can slide in the B&B side of things because we're here. It's more what they're looking at as people who are renting out cottages and they're not there. You know what I mean? And they're mandating that people have someone within 30 minutes of a cottage, so things like that. So municipalities are starting to look at how they can make money. The people who are.
And today on the good news front, the government is implementing 20%.
Yeah, did you see that?
Did you hear about that?
Staycation, Ontario.
If you stay in Ontario, you can get a 20% return on your stay.
Yeah, they just announced that.
That's huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So they take your invoice.
They just announced that today.
They take their invoice that they got, what they paid, and then they can get 20% back on a tax credit.
That's going to be epic, man. Next year is going to be epic.
for this next year, I think, to help
Yeah, for 2022.
the hospitality industry.
Okay, that's good to know. So, I mean, yeah, with regards to all that, and that is a good question. It's always a good idea to basically get on the good side of your local. First of all, get on the good side of your neighbors, your immediate neighbors, because if they're on board with it, they're 99% of your complaints and 99% of the reason why someone would show up from the town. And then, yeah, pay your taxes, dot your I's, cross your T's. That's my advice.
For sure.
Somebody asks, Lorraine Shauna asks, and this might be kind of a very specific question to each municipality. Do you have to register as a business through your municipality? Here in Erin, I know there wasn't any rulings when I started. I started like 5 years ago. This wasn't even a thing. That was what I wanted to say is like, there's enough of us now. We should almost have a group of us be like, hey, we need a new category. We're not a cottage for rental. We're not really a bread and breakfast in the traditional sense of like someone sleeping in your house. We're almost our own category. There's enough of us now where I think we could probably advocate for that and ideally get a different category. But was there any hoops you had to jump through with your municipality?
It's just starting in January. So we're going to have to look at what we can. Our property actually was, when we purchased it, we were zoned to have a B&B, to have 3. So we're crossing our fingers that it'll count.
So far, no hoops.
So far, no hoops.
So Christopher Geiser asks, what sort of insurance considerations do you / did you have to make both for the bunkie itself and for hosting people?
Yeah, we're a little bit flying under the.
We're under the radar on that.
You can answer that one, Dave.
Okay, so I'll tell you what I did. So that was a wife consideration thing too. So my thoughts are, your insurance profile is a little different than like if you're renting out a room in your house or if you're renting your entire house out, right?
Yep.
Like the worst case scenario is really somebody burns the bunkie down, which I mean would be sad. That everyone would be sad, but it's just a bunkie. Like you can rebuild it and it's not that much money in the grand scheme of things. Especially because most people can pay them off within about a year or two. So, as long as they don't burn it down on day one. So the actual protecting the bunkie, I didn't find that was worth paying extra for myself personally. But what I liked was the liability insurance. So we looked into liability insurance from our homeowners policy, and there are Airbnb riders now and things you can add on, and so to protect, like if somebody like sues you, essentially is the bigger risk, right? And then the thing I liked about Airbnb was that when you pay them your booking fee, you're also buying a tiny little bit of liability insurance, so that if something, if you do get catastrophically sued and it was an Airbnb booking, you're protected. So that was how I kind of justified that with my wife, and lots of people can, are doing it under the radar. That's a risk that you can take, and I don't think it's really that much of a risk personally, because worst case scenario is the bunkie gets destroyed. I've never heard that happening yet. So
we may have to change that with the municipality if we get registered.
Yeah,
but we'll see what happens.
someone asked, do you think this would work in the city? What's your thoughts?
I think you'd have to fair size yard. Backyard, that is.
I've seen, is there a video with somebody in the city though? Aren't there people in the city that have bunkies?
Yeah, there's definitely clients that have put them in the backyard for sure. I think you need kind of the right backyard. You'd want to have a backyard that has relative privacy, I think is going to be a necessity, I would say. But the right amount of cedar hedges, I think you could pull that off.
Yeah, because you don't want people looking down at you from. Yeah, I'm not sure.
It really is an ideal situation for a rural-ish property. I think there are people that have, and just there's so much more regulation in town. To be fair, as well.
Yeah.
not impossible, but you're gonna have to really, like, people in the city really have to make sure they got all their ducks in a row, regulatory wise, I think.
A lot more neighbors.
Oh, someone's posting the CTV news. I'm going to post this comment here. Toronto, there's a long link, but it says Ontario announces plan for staycation tax credit. That is very cool. That's very cool. Okay, and thanks for letting me know about that. Okay, I wanted to ask: do you guys have gutters on your bunkie to catch rain?
No.
We do not.
We have we did put on a steel roof, and we didn't have gutters, but we haven't had an issue.
Yeah, I don't see what the issue would be, really.
We're in the forest, so.
Karen West asks, can you make the bunkie accessible for people with disabilities? We have, so it's tricky with the loft bunkies, I think, unless you were to build some really complicated staircase. But there's a video of us building a Make-A-Wish bunkie for a kid, and we built a little, basically a wheelchair ramp out of wood. And so you've got to get the deck up to the same plane as the door entrance, and then you can get in.
The single floor bunkies is totally doable.
The single floor, or we have, as we said, we have a pull-out, we have a flip-out. We got one from IKEA. It fits perfectly so that you can come down. Somebody can come down the ladder, and it can be flipped out at the same time. That was the measurement. And so if you had someone, it would be accessible if you pulled it out, and then maybe had someone staying with them who was up above.
Awesome. Well, I think this is a pretty good overview. Is there anything you want to? I guess if someone was considering this, they're in your spot and they're thinking, is it something I want to do? Is it something I want to invest in? What would your kind of words of advice or caution or warning be to people in that situation?
You need to like people. You need to enjoy that. We've actually had people come and stay because they were interested in building one. So I would, not to say to come here specifically, but it is a good idea to go stay in one. And we've had 3 people who came and stayed, and they said, well, we thought about building one, and we wanted to see what it was like to build one. So that's a good piece of.
Try it before you buy it, guys. That's pretty good advice.
Yeah.
This is a good question here, and I think I might have a good answer. So Wendy Collins Robbins asks, she says, she likes the idea of the ramp, but wouldn't that make the size too big if the ramp was attached? Probably, depending on how anal your local building inspector is. But if you build your ramp and your deck as a separate, adjacent but not attached structure, you can sometimes get around the deck.
You can cheat that way.
Yeah.
Alistair Aldridge asks, how do you handle taxes?
How do we handle taxes?
Yeah.
Well, we've only been doing it for exactly 1 year.
Yeah.
So we're still underneath 30,000. We're still doing that, but yeah, otherwise you would, if you're a business and you want to start charging HST right away. So if you don't make $30,000 within 12 months, then you don't have to start doing HST. That's the rule. If you are doing that through your business, then you can you just add it on, and then if you're a business and you apply for an HST number, they're just going to send you the forms. You're just going to fill them out and you're just going to submit it. That's all.
Yeah, it's not as bad as you might. I mean, the process of getting it started is kind of annoying, but once you get it going after a couple of years, I found it was actually really, really easy.
Pretty easy to do with business, yeah.
Unless anyone else has some last minute questions, I think we'll let Barb and Steve go. Honestly, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really, really appreciate that. It means a ton, and people are really digging it.
Anytime, and we have to say that anybody who asks us, we tell them, you got to do a funky life, because David was there. We can call him at supper time and say, well, how is this supposed to look? We can't figure it out. go out to the bunkie and show
Take a
us
picture,
and take a picture and
send it to
talk.
us.
And he answers. So, yeah, he's 100%. We tell everyone with Bunkie Lab.
It's an honor to have you guys as clients, and I'm so excited about all the cool things you're doing. So thanks again for taking the time, guys. We'll give you a big round of applause, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay, thanks a lot, David.
Okay, bye for now, guys.
Bye, everybody.
All right. So that is Steve and Barb. Lovely people. And once again, I'm going to type that in so everyone can see it. It's Tranquil Solutions Canada, I believe is the website. Let me just type it in. tranquilsolutionscanada.com. So check it out if you want to get away and you want to. Apparently, you can save 20% or get 20% rebate if you book for next year. So I know they're already booking up for next year. So give them a call or an email or whatever. tranquilsolutionscanada.com. Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of the presentation. And like I said, I'm an open book. You can always email in. We've done a lot of different presentations on different angles of it. Thank you so much, Isalina, for participating as well tonight. And we got 1 week before this contest closes. We're giving away our most popular bunkie ever. It's going to be a really fun night next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so between now and then, we're going to add a few more things you can do on that contest scoreboard. So keep checking it this week. Keep sharing it with your friends and family. And we're also going to be announcing our huge end of the year sale. So as soon as the contest ends on November 14th, we're going to have a 1 week sale. So between the 14th and the 21st, we'll do a big sale, and it will be our final sale of the year. It's going to be a great opportunity to pre-order your bunkie for spring and get ready to go for that inevitable rush that's for sure happening. So I got to do the code word. So the code word tonight is bacon. That's right. The code word is bacon. So thanks for tuning in. And if you guys have any questions for us, if you're interested in coming to see bunkies this week, Andrew will be at Bunkie HQ in Erin, Ontario. You can book if you're close enough to us. Feel free to book a tour. You just go to bunkielife.com and scroll to the bottom and click book a tour, and we'll slot you in on any of the time that he's got available. It's super key that you do that, because if you wait until next weekend, then you got to go see the bunkie, and then you're waiting, and then you're gonna miss out on the sale. So don't do that. Book that tour as soon as you can, because they do kind of tend to fill up. And if you want to just, our online stuff is pretty good, so you can get a good feel for what the bunkies are like just from the comfort of your own home. And so, yeah, the sale's starting as soon as the contest ends next week, and it goes for 1 week. I'll announce all the details over email, and on the next live stream, I'll go into detail about that too. So, guys, the code word is bacon one more time. Thanks for taking the time to tune in, and it's been a real slice. Thank you to everyone who participated. We'll see you again on Tuesday, when we talk about completing the Bunkie Life picture, and then, of course, Thursday the 11th, Remembrance Day. It's going to be an emotional night, so tune in for that, and then we'll announce the winner on Sunday. So thanks again for taking the time on this Sunday evening. We'll see you again in just a few days.